Home movies are tiny time capsules reaching into the past. They serve as bridges linking adults to their childhoods and to memories of their parents when they were young. In some cases, they may constitute some of the best historical footage of a tiny island community riding in the wake of strategic missile defense program decisions made a world away in Washington, D.C. Tony Mollica, a former Kwaj kid, has heaps of just this type of footage. Recorded by his father Lonnie, beginning in January 1970 and ending in December 1975, the Mollica Super 8 film reels capture Kwajalein and the Mollica family as they existed during two separate tours. One tour came at the start of the Kwajalein Missile Range's massive Safeguard missile and radar testing series taking place on Nell Island.
System tests would soon start here at Kwajalein against ICBM targets. Many Kwajalein facilities had been enlarged and improved for the influx of Army and civilian personnel and their families.
The other tour came about 5 years later, as the Safeguard era of anti-missile testing was coming to an end on the missile range. AFN Kwajalein had a chance this week to chat with Mollica about his father's passion for capturing daily life on film. In this interview, we discuss Tony's Herculean efforts to preserve the footage, and we also take a walk down memory lane, strolling through his boyhood home of Kwajalein.
My last name is Mollica, Tony Mollica, yep.
Tony Mollica, a former Kwaj kid who lived out here in the 70s. He has a small mountain of film that his father recorded throughout the years, and it captures a unique history of Kwajalein Island and the people that lived on the island during that time.
My dad was kind of a World War II generation, born in the 1920s. And in his generation, having a camera was actually a special thing. Everybody's got a camera on their hand today. But if it was 1950 and you were in your 30s, you had a camera, like you had this special thing. And so he was just passionate about documenting his life and documenting, so I have photos and then from photos it goes to slides, and from slides it goes to film. And then in the 90s, he switches over to tape, right? Magnetic tape and digital video. And he ended up really spending most of his adult life just documenting his life. So, families that are on the island are away from their immediate family. And his way of showing what we're doing and keeping in contact with family and friends that were in the States was for him to take his movie camera and for him to take his still camera, and then he would take Kodachrome, Ektachrome slides, Super 8 film, and he would document, and he would take the time to splice it. I mean, he was in a darkroom and he was splicing to the different reels of tape, and he was like, I'm going to make this about all the sports that we're doing on the island. And he's got footage of my brother and I, we're 9 and 10 years old, and I'm learning to swing a golf club, and he's there. And most of his friends and buddies were all at Raytheon, and they were doing the same thing. So he did what he could to show the life of living on Kwajalein, the biking, the Yuck Club, the restaurant, is it the Sandbar or something like that? I don't remember the high school, not the high school, but the elementary school, the playground, just basic Kwaj living, parties, getting together, living on the beach time, all that kind of stuff, the Cub Scouts, everything. Okay, so what I remember, if a 5-year-old boy is going to go on a tropical island, right, it's exciting. He's going to be outdoors all the time. So for me, I was really excited about this. I wanted to meet new friends. I wanted to spend a lot of time at the beach. I wanted to be outside on my bike. So to a 5-year-old boy, it's awesome. What I did notice, and I was very perceptive, is that older people weren't so enthusiastic about it. Mom, for instance, she liked the idea of it, but in one sense, but in another sense, she knew that she was going to be away from family, and she would, that was a hard thing for her to say goodbye to her sisters and her parents to go live, half a world, literally half a world away. And now in the year 2021, we can FaceTime and we can Zoom and we can get together on Skype or whatever technology. There's ways to connect, right? But back in 1975, a phone call maybe, and it was really expensive. So when we talk about being separated from family, it was really separation, that she couldn't call her mom. It wasn't the time issue. It was really just literally they didn't have the technology to connect people as well as they do today. So that was very emotionally difficult for her. But as a kid, it was awesome.
And I think it's fascinating that your father tried to kind of fill that gap in a way through recording these films and these slides and sending them back on.
Yeah, he did. And you know, it's funny. I always knew that about him, but I never recognized whether or not other dads were doing that. And I don't think they were. I think he was kind of the exception. I think my father was, you know, didn't realize how much impact it would have in the future generations long after he's died and gone, that this would really be a permanent imprint of a memory of an island at a time, but also my family, right? So I've got family footage, and my kids are looking going, Dad, this is when you were 10 years old, and there I am swinging a bat or, you know, whatever. And so the family memories are nice, but also life on the island. And I think what he did was rare. I don't know if there's a lot of footage of that island and that life back in the 70s. Every single month, he has just tons of slides. And when he died in 2006, he was in his late 80s, you know, I opened up a closet full, and I'll show you the supply of stuff I had to go through. So for me, it's like, well, how is he going to take all this childhood memory and bring it back to life? And because he's long gone, and they didn't have the technology when he passed away in 2006 to do that well. So I looked around and I looked at places that could go to take them, to have them professionally done. But if you look at looking at my supply, right, all those slides, thousands, it would have costed me $10,000, and I don't even know the quality. So what I did was I bought this thing from a guy in Texas. This is a Tellison, and this thing has something called this is a slide gate. I know the lighting's not that good in here, but this is a slide gate, and I also bought regular 8 and a super 8 gate. They call them a gate. And what I would do is basically take the gate, if I put it on here and I did the film, then I took the film gate off and I put the slide gate on. Basically, I'm lighting this thing up and I'm putting a slide in, and it digitizes it and puts it on this software here. And when we stayed for a year, the contract that Raytheon had with the United States government, Defense Department, was over. They were building some sort of huge radar on the island. That's all I remember. I don't gather much more than that. But basically,
what did your father do as a Raytheon employee?
He was basically an electrical engineer.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, he was an electrical engineer. Yeah.
Did he ever tell you about the cool stuff he was doing as, you know, basically one of the foot soldiers in the contract run Cold War?
He would talk about the radar, not talk about it in detail, but he would just mention it. You know, we're building a radar, and that's about all I knew.
System testing had been taking place at Nell Island. The proving in of the MSR design with its associated software as an operational phased array radar presented a tremendous challenge. Systems designers sent to MEC on rotational assignments were able to carry complete knowledge of the design intent to the field.
But also, he took us out to the island when they did missile tests. I don't know if they do that now, but back then, they were testing missiles, and people on the island knew about it, and they would go on the beach, and they would look into the ocean, and you would see a missile. And maybe 3 times over the course of a year, there were missile tests. And he would basically say, come on, kids, let's go out, and let's go see they're going to shoot a missile.
The carnival is just bizarre because, I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere in the ocean, and, you know, the DoD valued the people on Kwaj and the mission that was taking place on Kwaj to such a degree that they would transport a full-on carnival with all the rides, all the games, and they would set up a carnival on little old Kwaj for you guys. I just think that's fascinating, and this is the first video footage I've seen of it, and I think it's so cool. So,
okay,
what's the carnival like?
Okay, so here's the deal with the carnival, and this is what I remember. At the time that we went, and I think it was 69, 70, I would have to go and look at my months, but when we arrived on the island, it was a time when there were a lot of people arriving on the island. It was just whatever they did, some project, they needed engineers, they needed talent. There were a number of different companies that were involved in whatever they were doing on this island mech. And so as a result of all these new people and families coming on the island, they had a carnival. So literally the first 2 to 3 weeks that we were on the island, we all went to the carnival, and we, you know, it was fun for the kids, but the adults would begin to meet each other. You know, hey, I'm Joe. I work in this department. You know, this is my shift, and it was free. I remember, I don't think you paid for anything. It was just, if you wanted a hamburger or a hot dog, you just grabbed one. And I don't remember who was sponsored by, I didn't know, but you know, that's what it was. The carnival there was almost there to welcome people that were just coming onto the island so that they could get to know, you could get to know your boss and your boss's family, and everyone just kind of got to know each other. That was the reason for the carnival.
Vaudeville came to Kwajalein as elementary schoolers performed for their annual talent show. Students delighted the crowd with various acts, from singing to dancing, musical instruments to sketch comedy, glow-in-the-dark blackouts to educational performances. There was something for everyone to enjoy. The annual 2021 GSES PTO Elementary School Talent Show supports students and teachers at Kwajalein Elementary and is open to everyone.